that nobody helps them, no work is done by them. If there's a telephone, nobody will say, I'll get it. That's American quality. They'll say, I'll get it. It's regarded good. Not in England. They'll be all sitting quiet. Even when they have eaten the food, they have to pay the money. They look this side. And some poor Indian student will pay for all of them. They won't go. Now paid. Now they are normal. It's very low level. It's extremely low level behavior. And this is what one has to learn, that you have to cherish others, give present to others. You're going there, now, like the other day, I met a lady, she had liked one of my rings of emerald. That's my family ring, so I can't give away. So I'll have to ask CP. And he may not like it because after all I have no right on it. I have to give it to my children, alright? But I found an emerald somewhere. Beautiful. So I kept it with me. The other day when I gave her, she was so enamored. I said, you liked my ring, I couldn't give you my ring. So she said, you mean to say I would have taken your ring? I said, I would have forced it on you, but I couldn't give you. So I thought of it. I just saw it somewhere, so I got it for her. I said, how thoughtful. But it's all in my head. Whenever I get it a chance, you see, so somebody says, I'll like it. Keep it in mind. Next time, even a flower. You must cherish their companies because it's such a great thing to have somebody who understands you, your spirit, and they have the spirit. Such a great thing. How can you be unkind to each other? That hurts me the most of all. And the first thing and the foremost thing you have to give me is congenial, beautiful, loving group. That they love each other. If that's achieved, that you really love beyond your personal considerations. I mean, of course, in Sahaja there are now not many people who try to make money, but try to make comfort for themselves. They must have the best room, they must have the best place, they must have, I didn't get this, I should have it, this, that. Try to do more than others. I know sometimes people take advantage of it, but they will go out of Sahaja very soon. So be sure that you become generous about it. Very generous. And generosity should start from your own Sahaja Yogi brothers and sisters. In the culture of Sahaja Yoga, we have to have a full imbibement, bubbling through our nerves, the sense of chastity. That is a must, whether you like it or not. There should be no bad intentions about any other person of relationships which are not pure. Absolutely pure relationships, pure eyes, without any adulteration I would call it. Clean eyes is the basic of Sahaja. Steadfast, clean eyes. Because your eyes are very powerful. You don't know how powerful they are. So to make it that way, to practice, move your attention inward and towards the Sahasrara. You can. With your eyes, you suck it. Even while looking at me, with the Shraddha, with the joy, you just suck it inside my image. Put it on your Sahasrara. Put it in your heart. You can do it. It's very joy-giving. When you put it in the Sahasrara, then you get the knowledge. When you put it in your heart, you get the joy. And when you put it on your liver, then you get the power of action. From the photograph also, you can do it, sucking, move it. But that is shown in the way you behave towards others. Completely confident, gentle, no arrogance. Neither the neck up like that or like that, but in the center, in a very dignified way. So, in the culture of Sahaj, because the spirit is the dignity, is the majesty, is the glory of God, you have to judge yourself. Did I say something which is not respecting my spirit? Did I do something that is not glorious? Like I've seen people, when I'm there, they'll go on asking me 100 questions. Should it be white towel, green towel? Should I do this? Should I do that? Why? Because we don't live with choices. We live whatever we get it, and there is dignity in that. If you start doing choices, it's stupid. In a group of Sahaja Yogis, the food, what will you have? They'll take 45 minutes to decide if you go in a restaurant. Because the consciousness, we are paying for it. And somebody will have this, somebody will have that. The poor waiter will run away. Why should we have different? It's just the same. What your mother is having, we'll have. Finished. But if not that, at least whatever everybody is having, why have separately? Choices are not there in Sahaja Yoga. Remember this word very clearly. Choices of this, choices of that. I don't like it, I like that. This is not good, that is not good. Because we need everything. On the level of vibrations, then the choices come in. Like if the vibrations are not good, we'll not say it, but we'll not have it. But not question of whether green or red or yellow or white. And that is what they are making fool out of you. They will put one name, Kartiye, finished. People will pay any amount for that Kartiye. Is any ordinary stuff, it is, nothing special. But you see that ego, I've got the Kartiye, I've paid more to show that I've paid more, that I've been a fool. To pay more for something that's so cheapish. That's what they're playing upon, remember that. So you have to understand that when you are a Sahaj personality, you have your own dignity. These things do not give dignity to you. You give them dignity. But that doesn't mean tomorrow you come like a clown or like a limbo on your nose. Of course, I must see the other point of it because it just slips out that side. When you become dignified, you will wear always something that is dignified. You will do all that is dignified. Is automatically you become dignified. It's nothing artificial. So, dignity that comes as you see your mother. Whatever you give me in puja, I take it, all right. But otherwise you cannot give me anything else. If you give me, I'll return it somehow. Somehow I'll return it. A person who is money oriented cannot have dignity. Because you see him like a beggar. See, if this money orientation is too much, he comes down to that level. You can see there cannot be dignity in that. A man who is power oriented is an idiot. he looks like an idiot. So we cannot become idiots. Alright, so we cannot be power oriented. The one who is sort of a romantic or a love oriented is a stupid fellow. He behaves like a stupid fellow. On the street they go on kissing each other all the time. Where are you going? To the divorce case, but last bit we are thinking of having some kisses. Self-respect is the thing. Self is your spirit. The respect of the spirit should give you that dignity. But in privacy, you are gentle with your husband, you are gentle with your wife. You must learn how to be gentle with her in privacy, not in public. That's horrible. Especially in India. I'm told that people go around with the romanticism and all that. So please don't do all those romantic stuff in India. It's very embarrassing for me. Very embarrassing. So we cannot do things which embarrasses our mother. Once you start knowing that, this will embarrass mother. We can't do this. You automatically will be. So when it is related with me, immediately, what will mother think of me? Is this the way to behave towards mother? Immediately you will get the reward as that thing working through you. As if you become that nature. Sahaj culture is a Sahaj nature. Automatically you will do it. You will talk in that manner, you will speak in that manner, you will live in that manner. I mean, I have seen people who have never known me. On a trunk call or a telephone, they recognize. They know I'm something special. If they're sensitive enough. From my photograph, the way I sit, the way I talk, immediately everyone asks. The other day when I went for the meeting with my husband, everybody was asking, who is this lady? Who is this lady? Who is this lady? There's something in the personality. I talk to everyone nicely. I'm very sweet. We cannot be slavish and we cannot enslave anyone. We have to cherish. Even human beings we have to cherish because they are us. Not to despise anyone. Not to laugh at anyone. In the culture of Sahaj, you have to become an expert. Expertise. Expertise comes through your adherence to your mother. Expertise. You should be an expert. And who will give you the certificate is your mother only. Who else? I may not say so, but your spirit will say that. And not your ego. In a short time, whatever was possible, it's such a big subject, culture is. You cannot. But I've talked to you, I would not say in a very analytical way, but in a very synthetic manner. So I've given you a very synthesis of the whole thing. Analytical would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cut short. 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. It's not like that. And that is how you have to speak to people. 1, this is so. 2, this is so. 3, this is so. Finished. You're not Sahaja Yogi. In your speeches, if you talk like that, finished. But before saying something or doing something, give a little idea where you are leading the people so they are not frittered away. Attention is not frittered away. Give a little idea as I say. Or else while talking, bring them to a point which is important. So that they wait in the sentence to come to that point. But make the whole sentence look so that it is going towards certain points. So always a Sahaja Yogi must make a point out of what they talk. Not just babbling, talking. What is the point you are going to make? Whatever they do, they have to know what are we going to achieve out of it. In a marriage, what are we going to achieve out of marriage? A family, house, everybody has. Even a donkey has that. What's so great? We are going to achieve a family unit where realized souls are to be born. We are going to look after them in a proper way, and then we are going to emit that unit into this world like a sparkling diamond set in the beautiful setting of a family, giving light to the whole world. So life should not be pointless, and talks should not be pointless, and every moment should be filled with achievements of your visions and dreams, slowly and steadily, which is not at all difficult. If you can get rid of ego and superego, finished. That's all. Simple as that. May God bless you all. Good. Nice. Relaxed, eh? Relaxed. Witness. Everyone cleared out, I think. And no more, one more thing, I must say, last. I've said it before, which I have not said here. No one is going to say that Bhoot did it, because such a person will be sent away to the Bhoot clan, not to Sahaja Yoga. Don't put your responsibility on the Bhoots. Either you are a Bhoot or you are a Sahaja Yogi, one of the two. You can't be both.
We're so fortunate that our Holy Mother, the Holy Spirit in totality, explained everything to us in such minute detail. What you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, and what you have to become. The ultimate thing of Sahaja Yoga is the becoming. Rest of it is nice conversation. And it's a nice, process, you could say, or this or that, etc. All that. So, this thing which Shivaji explained about with reverence, just look at my photograph. And you don't have any idea as to the powers of your eyes. But you can just suck my photograph into your sastra, into your heart, and into your liver. And then she explained what happens as a result of that. So this is something that I've done in meditations with children and do meditation with 2 different groups right now. Over the years, I've done many different groups with children. One is a toddler group, which is between the ages of, I think the youngest is, 4 now, and the oldest is 8 or 9. So that group, because they need a little bit of a different vibe and how you keep them involved and engaged. And then a little older group, which is right now, I think the group is, 12 or 13 to about 21. And we've already had some groups which you could say, in a sense, have graduated. And these children are now, in colleges. Some of them are on their career paths. 2 of them are on their way to becoming physicians. A third one is in college now, getting ready to then apply for medical college. Other children in other fields. So I'm not just saying, somebody has to become a physician or a engineer, like which is sometimes said about Indians, that it has to be a doctor or engineer. No. It is, the take to them is know what you like, know what you enjoy, but then excel at it. Average is not good. You need to excel in it so that people can see that part of you. You could be an artist, who knows? You could be a musician, whatever it is, but excel. So certain things can be hobbies, and certain things are what you master. So that thing. So with the small children, so let's do it now as part of this podcast. As we're looking at Shrimaji's photo, just look at her photograph, knowing fully well that as her children, she's given us that right. And also, she's put that power into our eyes, that with that reverence, we just take a photograph and put it on our Sahasrara. Let's do it. You can just suck it in with your eyes, with that humility and reverence that I am, while I'm sucking in essence, I'm actually requesting and praying that, Shrimaji, you please come and sit in my Sahasrara. And to the point that one can see her photograph in the Sahasrara. The same way, if you need to look again, you can watch her photograph again and then suck it into the heart. Again, with that reverence and that humility. And then thirdly, again, if you need to watch Shrimaji's photograph, do that. Suck it into the liver. And as we do that, you'll find that it kind of expands within you. You can feel the coolness just flowing into us as the grace. Another thing which one has found that if with humility, with that adoration, with that surrender, when we pray and ask Shrimaji to put her lotus feet on our sacrum bone, then another dimension is also added. Now, as Shrimaji explained, that when you put her photograph, her image in our Sahasrara, all the knowledge of the universe is available to us. This is that state which was referred to as torsion area by Einstein. Essentially, it's a state of thoughtless and doubtless awareness. Then when we put her image or her feet in our heart, and as we're talking about it, you can actually feel it and feel the grace of the coolness just flowing through your chest, through your heart, going into your, even going into your Lalita and Sri Chakra. That is the joy. And she said the ripples and the bubbles of joy, which is of chastity, fill the whole being. You can actually just feel them grow within you, expanding. As her grace and blessings on us. And then at the liver, not only does it give us action, but it also, through her grace, enables us to keep our attention focused. So that's not just frittered away. So just pay attention to your attention. Means watch yourself, watch your thoughts. Because now we are empowered to do that. And when we humbly request that Shrimaji kindly put your holy lotus feet on our sacrum bowl, then she blesses her reflection of Mother Kundalini within us. So if there are any challenges or anything where the reflection is not pure and perfect, then her grace corrects that too. And so the chastity, which is again her as Mother Gauri, is not only reestablished, but is strengthened so that more strands of Mother Kundalini rise and help us, bless us in our ascent. So this is something which one has done with both groups of children. Because one is, you can talk to them about things, you play a little part of Shrimaji's talk. But the essential part of it is to make them feel, for them to experience that on their own central nervous system. Like one of the small children said, short videos of Shrimaji interacting with children, giving them chocolates and, laughing with them and, playing with them, enjoying them. And his thing was, how come we don't get to do that with Shrimaji? And so the answer to that was, see, here, feel this cool breeze. That is also her. So physically, you might not see her, but in essence, you can feel her. And she's giving everyone such a beautiful hug, making all of us feel so blissful and joyful. And they could feel that. So Sahaja Yoga is an experience. And even with children, they have to experience it. Sitting in meditation is wonderful. But taking that meditation and making it part of your how you work, how you do everything is even greater. And as Shivaji explained, when you suck things in, and we can pull our attention inside because that power has been given to us. Now, if you're not able to do it, then better work on yourself and clear yourself out. And all the techniques she's already told us, whether you need to use ice, whether you need to use camphor, flame, paper burning, shoe beating, whatever it might be, do it. But beyond that, you have to go to meditation. And then that starts working. So at the Nabhi and at the void, the satisfaction comes, the joy comes from the satisfaction, the respect for everyone, the dharma, and the concentration, because that's the Guru Tattva. So you can pull it in. Let's try to do it right now. Just pull it in. Because with the Guru Tattva, then moves the Mahalakshmi Tattva. And that's the path of ascent. So now put attention on the central channel. And you'll find that it's just getting, you can feel the cool breeze. You can feel the blessings flowing. Let it come up to the Vishuddhi, to the heart. The heart, you can just feel the expansion of that love and all the ripples of joy, of purity. At the Vishuddhi, the sweetness, the collectivity, the friendship, but innate, which is genuine. It's not lip service, it's from the heart. And the Agya, it's the light of Lord Christ. And that thing of just doing whatever is needed for Sahaja Yoga, for our mother's work, because we're totally aligned to her. Without her, actually, this universe doesn't exist. And the whole universe, anyway, is her. And at the Sahasrara, it is just that surrender to her and requesting her, praying to her that Shivaji, you please allow me to worship your holy feet in the Sahasrara. Kindly allow that Pranav Shakti, that Omkara to just flow and just bless our being. Let us be your manifestation. You manifest in us. And let your innocence, the coolness, the blessings of Shri Ganesha just manifest through us. In essence, let me be just your instrument. That's all we seek. So, in that state, with these children, unless and until they feel this, like all of us do. So we have to go from that state, from inside to outside. Like Sri Socrates said, that's such a joke, that human attention is constantly being pulled outside because we think, I shouldn't miss this, I shouldn't miss that. What if that happens? And we think that what's happening outside is real. It's not. It's just a big play going on. But the reality is that when you go inside, that's where the reality exists. That's where Sahaja Yogis get the blessings. That's where she bestows her powers on us. But she bestows them when we are ready for it. And to be ready for it, one has to work on oneself. And that's the only penance of tapasya that one has in such. Everything else is already prearranged. It's already. But, and I don't know if you should be asking that, Shrimaji, give me this, give me that. You should just ask that whatever you think is right for me, you please let that work. Once there was a Mahalakshmi Puja, which was in Kolhapur, not in Kolhapur, in Nasik. It was at the house of a old Sahaja Yogi, very nice, very devoted couple, Dr. Sangvi and his wife, and of course their children were there too. And the puja, and you people probably have seen that photograph of Shimaji's where she's sitting with her left foot under her, under her hips, and she's in that Devi Mudra. And so that happened in her house, in his house. And so the puja happened. It was done in his front yard. After the puja happened, everybody dispersed. And Shimaji was still sitting there. And she specifically called two of us. One was me and one was another surgeon. And she said, come to my feet. So we went to her feet. And she said, ask whatever you want. Now, I really didn't know what to ask. What do you ask? God is sitting in front of you. What do you have to ask? Don't understand that. So anyway, I got up and walked after, did pranam to her and, just said, Shivaji, whatever you feel is good. And then she called me back and said, come to my feet. Ask whatever you want. And one couldn't ask for anything because, like, I found God. What else do I need? I don't need anything. My life, whatever else is there, is all in your hands. What else can one ask for? So the biggest blessings are within. Outside blessings one can get, and she gives in plenty to everyone. Why? Because she's Mahalakshmi. She can give everything, the whole You could say the coffers of this universe are at her command. But ask for that which is eternal, because that's the highest and that's the one which is everlasting. So even with the children, one tells them that you have to excel in whatever you want to do. Wherever you want to go, do that. But at the same point of time, don't forget that your essence is that you're a Sahaja Yogi. As a Sahaja Yogi, you have to be saintly, or you have to be like an angel. So you cannot be cheap. Whatever you're doing, it's just a big play going on. Just enjoy the play, play it, but don't forget that it's a play. And in that, then excel and show the world what you can do or what can happen when you're one with your spirit. And that's what you really are. Because that's the essence of being a Sahaja Yogi.
Shri Mataji.
Ashwin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Uncle Manish Singh ji, for joining us this evening for us and daytime for you, probably there in America, and sharing with us this meditation that you've been doing with these 400,000 children in your school district. And
So I want to correct. I haven't gone to 400,000 with the
no,
school district, but these are other children I do.
the
I'm
children
hoping,
who
at some point it will grow. So that hasn't happened, but if it's in their destiny, I'm sure that will happen too. That's
yes,
why the divine puts you there.
exactly. And it's really no words adequate to describe the meditation that Shri Mataji has shared with you when you were with Shri Mataji as you were sharing your experience in Nasik, in Delhi, in America, in all these various places around the world. And it's very nice to have that direct knowledge, essentially, but and also in this speech that we've just watched of Shri is talking about this Sahaj culture, the Sahaj culture, which is so important, and which is what as Sahaja Yogis we try and hopefully try to please our mother Shri Adi Shakti Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi with what we do, what we say, how we conduct ourselves in our day-to-day lives, in our so-called professional lives, or whatever dramas we have to play there on this stage in this world of Maya. What is the Sahaj culture? And can you please relate to us some other stories you may have with Mataji on this, please?
So third culture, one place she talked about it in terms of, she's like, when you have children, all children, of course, to begin with, you could say even third children, but it has to be beyond the child which is born to you. It is all children. In your eyes, they have to be the same. Now, having said that, the responsibilities to children who are born to you may be a little different in the sense that you have to look after their schooling, this, that. You have to see that they're properly fed, properly clothed, all that. That's your responsibility. But that they grow up to be Sahaja Yogis is the collective responsibility, not just yours. And then you remember in Shri Hanuman Puja, she said, if Shri Hanuman is there and some children are sleeping, he would not be covering just one child, he'd be covering everyone. And that's the way one really feels about it. So a child might have been born to you, but still he's her child. And if somebody is doing something silly or stupid, then it is your responsibility to correct them also. Sometimes you can do it gently. Sometimes you might have to be a little sharp also. Because the sweetness, as we've talked at the Vishuddhi, comes from Sri Krishna. Because in his play, he does all the drama, and after all, he's Leeladhar. He's the God Almighty, and he's Leeladhar. But then with him is Sri Vishnu Maya. And Sri Vishnu Maya is thunder and lightning. And I can tell you, in my life, I have experienced Sri Vishnu Maya play many times. And I have also realized that when you have to speak out, you have to speak out. Because she has put me into situations where I was trying to avoid a topic, and I was trying to be, as you might say, politically correct. And she was not having any of it. And I'll tell you of a particular situation because it went global. So there was a time when, it was discussed, and some people came up with the idea that, people react to Sahaja Yoga in the West because it's considered to be Indian culture, and Shimaji's photo, people react to it and things like that. And so we need to do it differently. And I'm like, without her, Sahaja Yoga doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. What are you talking about? So I opposed it. And then there were 2-3 other Sahaja Yogis, and they were sending some emails, and they were going back and forth, and I was copied on them. And I wasn't commenting. So 2 of them prodded me and said, how come you're not saying anything? And I'm like, it'll work out. Let it work out. And this went on for a couple of days. Finally, I was feeling inside myself that I needed to say something. And I did. And that email, in which I did, I was sending it to these 2-3 people. I think at best on that email thread, there were maybe 7-8 people. Somehow that email went global. It went global. And when I came to know it had gone global, I was like, oh my God. And then that happened for maybe 10-15 minutes. And then I just kept quiet and I said, look, with Sri Vishnu Maya, it's an announcement. It had to happen that way. Deal with it. Now, if people come to you and say something, so be it. Deal with it, handle it. And it did. There were reactions globally from there, that how dare he say this and how dare he do that and all the rest of it. But I'll just say this to you, that when it comes to daring and something has to be said, I've never hesitated or stayed away from it. Whether it was personally or otherwise, because by not saying it, you're lessening the dignity of our mother and our Sahaja Yoga. And people's feelings might get hurt, possible, not denying that, but at that point of time, the glory and dignity of our mother is way more significant, and the rest of it is not important.
So the crux of the matter here, that the email that Sri Vishnu Maya let out to the whole Sahaja Yogis of the world, was in effect talking about having Shri Mataji's photo for the Sahaja Yoga programs. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Okay. In fact, in 1986, yes, there is talk before Sahasrara Puja. 1986, in which Shimaji said that in the US they have discussions whether my photograph should be featured or put in the drawing room or not. And I'm just going to say, and so some people will say fanatic because I'm seeing that this word is being used indiscriminately and just everything is fanatic. But I'm just going to say this, whatever house I've been given or not given, I know very clearly it came from her.
Yeah.
You might not recognize it, I do. So for me, it's her house. I happen to live in there. And whatever way this house is conducted, I want it to be the way, knowing that she's there.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, that some, TV shows these days can be anything.
Yeah.
And so if there's something which is nonsensical, I'm like, really? Do we need to see that? I mean, that language is horrible. Now some people say you're being phonetic. But I'm going to say on the flip side, I'll also say this. There are deities which are sitting within us, including Shri Ganesha and Lord Christ. And they don't like any of this thing. They don't like it. You might like it. They don't. So you decide who you want to please. I'm not saying be fanatical. Now somebody is doing it. I'm not going to go and do a taundav on their head. I'm not. But am I going to say something about it? Yes, I'm going to say it. Especially when you can feel the vibrations are going crazy.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you up to? If you've come to Sahaja Yoga, that there's certain norms by which you have to live. And nobody forced them on you. Nobody forced them. You are accepting them of your own volition.
Mm.
So when you accepted this new state within yourself, if you want your own growth, you really want that connection with Shimaji, then you change. It's not going to be the other way around.
That is true. And also, it is important that you're sharing this with us and that this has happened, given the last Guru Puja with Shri Mataji in Kabela, where she had, after the Aarti, after the puja, I mean, in so many years, I haven't actually been a witness to anything of that scale and significance. But in there, Shri Mataji said, so who is ready to be your own guru? Raise your hands. And then she says, oh, you may not even feel the need to have my photograph, but it's just that long rope and the open license, isn't it? It's for us to have that sense of, well, the reverence, all that, just the gratitude that she's been so kind. Shri Mataji has been so kind to give us the best present ever that anyone could give, and she is the creator of everything. So yeah. So, it's really,
the minute thought comes,
yeah,
simultaneously, Shri Mahamaya is active. So, and I know that some people took this a little too far, and I've seen actions where new people are coming and these people are sitting on a chair and people are coming down and holding their hands like with adoration, and they're sitting there like they're some great master. And I would say this to you, simple thing. Let's say we are sitting in a court and there's Shri Ganesha there, there's Shri Hanuman, there's Lord Christ, there's Shri Bhairavnath, and there's Shri Mataji sitting there. Do you think that Shri Hanuman or Shri Bhairavnath or even Shri Ganesha would be asserting themselves when she's there? So I think that answers the question. That answers the question.
Totally.
I'm going to say, no matter who you were, whether it's Shri Ganeshwar, it's Shri Kabir Das Ji, all great saints.
Mm.
I mean, tremendous saints. What saints? But how would they conduct themselves when she's there? And she has said very clearly, I think it was 1986, 87, when she declared that in the heavens there was a celebration. You remember that talk? And she said, normally in the assembly of gods, and there are 33 crore, 330 million of these deities or these devas sitting over there, and unlimited number of shaktis, right? And she said, normally in a meeting, there's no suggestion, not a word offered, except what the mother says. But this time they ganged up against me and they formed a union against me. Why did they form that union? Because they love her so much. It was their love and also that protectiveness of a child towards his mother. We all have experienced that protectiveness of our own birth mother if somebody dares to say something against her. And they were like, but there'll be no crucifixion and there'll be no torturing this time. And they have to recognize you. And if they don't recognize you, we will punish them. So, I mean, without saying you better do this, she stole the whole background and then explained how we should be. And I would say this, as a child, wouldn't you do that? I mean, wouldn't you do that? We all have our birth mothers, no doubt. We have our birth fathers, no doubt. But we have our eternal parents also,
Yes.
which is Shrimadji, and we are so fortunate that she actually came on this earth. We talked to her. If we haven't talked to her, we've seen her videos. We've seen all that. And she has interacted with us. She's told us what we are supposed to do. Puja is going on and she's like, no, do like this, do like that. Which incarnation did that?
Absolutely.
So it's such a big joke, and it's all already laid out for us. Everything is laid out. Just obey and follow. If Shimadi said, I only create angels, the angel doesn't have a will of his own. Angel is like Sri Hanuman, that, oh Lord, what is it that you want me to do? And in waiting that even before the Lord says something and it's coming out of his mouth, you've already caught it at the Vaikhari and you've already executed it. That's Sri Hanuman.
That is
I wish one could be like him. But at the same time, I know that he's there too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a very interesting story, Sushmita, and it's true. So once Shimaji was in a particular place, I'm not remembering where, it was somewhere in Maharashtra. And Mrs. Dhamal was coming from somewhere, and Shimaji wanted her to bring a suitcase with her. And so Shimaji told her that, okay, when you come here, get off at this station and, then come. So she said, but Shimaji, the train doesn't stop at that station. So Shimaji said, doesn't matter, you just come. Now, as an obedient Sahaja Yogi, she did what Shimaji asked. So when the train got to that station, the train suddenly stopped. It wasn't a designated stop. And she said she stepped out and she looked up and she saw this Virat form of Shimaji holding the train. And after she stepped off and, got her luggage out, the train moved on. So this conversation is going on. And there were a few of us sitting there. I was one of them. So I'm looking at Shivaji like this. So she looks at me and she says, "Ek din tumhe bhi dikhayenge. One day I will show you also."
Wow.
And so I just looked at her and I just looked at her feet and I didn't know what to say. But one thought did come into my head that, Shivaji, I don't know if I need to see that. And if you think that I'm worthy of it or I should be shown that, then that's fine. But I can tell you I haven't seen that. So just to put in thing. But this conversation did take place. So when I've shared this with some people, people said, "So have you seen that?" I said, "No, I have not. But
Yeah.
I've seen everything." One day, this was in Noida in 1998. And, Shivaji was going to bed. And you know how sometimes she would call some of us to massage her feet and things like that. And so we're massaging her feet, and you think Shivaji's gone off to sleep, and you're kind of slinking, and she's like, "Idhar karo." Rub it over here. And so we'd be doing that. And so this was going on. And suddenly she took my hand and put it on her sacrum. So I'm got my hand there. The other hand is on the floor. And Shivaji said, "Manish, ये तुम्हें मालूम है ये श्री आदि कुंडलिनी की है." And I'm telling you honestly, it didn't even resonate with me because I'm like, yeah, but Shivaji, you're there. You get my point? I mean, I understand that Shri Adi Kundalini, but you're there. Now, who's greater than you? I just don't understand it. But in retrospect, when I thought about it, I was like, she was basically blessing my Kundalini. She was blessing my Kundalini and her reflection in me. That's why when I shared that thing about, praying to her from your heart with that reverence, that Shivaji, kindly put your holy lotus feet on my sacrum. Because she has said many times that your kundalinis are not necessarily so strong. It has been disturbed, it has been done, maybe in this lifetime, maybe in previous lifetimes, could be anything. But if the reflection is real, it is pure, then it will act just like the Adi Kundalini is supposed to act. So one has to recognize that there are certain things which one has to work out within oneself. And so, I'm working it out. And I can tell you that I can see the benefits of it because so many times she would say, "I'm sitting there and there are thousands of people and I'm sucking all their problems in. You got one or two and you guys can't even handle that." But when you say you can't handle that, who's the one who's handling it at that time? Is your Kundalini Shakti which is handling it. So it is our responsibility that all the problems of this world, you have to, I'm not saying that you run into it, but if you're facing it or encountering it, then have the strength innately, not externally, innately to suck it in so that it works out. Because the working out is done by the divine. It's not done by us. But the instrument is this instrument. So you will feel some discomfort and pain and all that kind of stuff. You will feel it. But when it's released, then you feel the joy of it. Just today morning, I was doing a meditation session with some of my people from my work. And when we sat in the things, before that, I'd taken a little snooze in the morning after my morning meditation. And then I'd taken my four-legged baby for a walk. And I sat down and I was like, why is this hurting like this? And so I was trying to clear out my own self because the point is, who's the other? If you're feeling it, it's the collective thing, no? So who's the other? Then it kind of dawned on me, okay, you're sitting in this collective. So whatever it is, it's there. And then it worked out. It worked out. But that shamta or that capability or capacity, that has to grow within us. The rest of it is done by her. You know, she said many times that Shri Param Chaitanya was doing everything.
Yes.
And he is.
Yes.
You know, it's working all the time. But the instrument is ours. So the instrument has to be cleared out and it has to be strengthened so that all this work can happen. Now, just look at it from a different perspective. So, for example, in the UK, say maybe I'm just throwing a number, 1,500, 2,000 Sahaja Yogis. Are they all emitting that grace and that Param Chaitanya through their being? If they are, won't England be changing? You go to India and you go to Nirmal Dham and you come for a puja and there are 20,000 people sitting and you're feeling the burden of that. On the flip side, if it's really 20,000 Sahaja Yogis sitting there, India and Delhi would have been changed by now. So then where does the responsibility lie? Right here. It's not anybody else. You know, if somebody's catching, fine, they're catching. Who cares? But if you've been selected as her instrument, then it is our responsibility that this instrument is well oiled, it's cleaned, and it's functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning. Because then I'm a Sahaja Yogi. Then I'm a Sahaja Yogi.
Yes.
Now, coming to your point, how do we maintain that state? Very good question. And I've been working on it for some time. I don't know if I've got the answer, but maybe I have found something. And I'll take you back to a time when something happened to me. And I'm going to give you a little story on that. True story. So I'm not fabricating something. In 1997, 98, I had the opportunity to spend about 6-7 months with Shri Mataji when she was in Delhi, living at Noida. So I was literally with her for that time. I used to go home only to sleep, and then in the morning I'd be back there. And, you know, I would even sleep there outside Shri Mataji's room, because one of us would always be sleeping outside her room just in case she needed something. And then after that, I came back to the US with the family this time. And so when we came back, I was looking for a apartment for, me and the kids and the wife to live. And so while we were going through that process, we were staying at the ashram. And the ashram was a very nice ashram. And I think there were like 7-8 families living there. So it was pretty full, so there was no place for us, you know. And so even for the few days while we were trying to find accommodation and all that, so there was a veranda outside. So at night we put some sleeping bags on the floor and we slept on that. To me, it made no difference. You know, I've done it so many times. It's like no big deal. Now, in the middle of the night, and I don't remember what time, maybe 2, 3, 4 in the morning, suddenly I felt this tremendous energy just moving within me. And I immediately woke up. I was so fresh. And I went and sat in the meditation room, and the cool breeze was just blowing through me. It was just blowing through me. And I was in that state for many days. And if you remember, I had shared with this story that there was a time when Shri Mataji was annoyed with me because she had gifted me that state. She had. And I had become a little stupid and egoistical about it. So it went away because, you know, the mother is very wise, you know. When we are stupid, she's still wise. So anyway, that kind of thing. But I always remembered that state. I did remember that state. And many times prayed to her that, Shivaji, I remember that, in your grace and in your compassion, in your kindness, like that. But I think this time around, she wanted me to work for it. And so maybe that's why I've been working through it. But here's what I found so far. So I'm going to share it with everyone. Is that if you can be on your sutra, that is on the Sushumna, and using your own powers of concentration, which comes from the Guru Tattva. Now, I'm not saying I become a guru and all that, but those powers exist and you suck it in. Do it right now. Suck it in right from your Muladhara on the spine. And just, as we did earlier, put her feet, holy feet, on the Sahasrara, in the heart, in the attention, and just move up the spinal cord. And let it come to the Sahasrara at her holy feet. And as Sudha Didi shared, let the grace flow down also. Because one is the movement up, but then the grace flowing down is very important. Now, pull that in. Now try to keep that state. Can open your eyes. Now, when you're doing whatever you're doing, whether you're cooking, whether you're teaching, when I'm doing, my business meetings and all that, the trick now is pull that in and now do it in this state. So now you're doing the outside from the inside. But the culmination of that is when that state is established. But it's established through practice. Practice, and above all, her grace. So I've been doing this for a while, and I'm seeing that it's working. So that's why I'm sharing it. So that he said experiment, and Shimaji had said to experiment. I've done experiments. I said, but nothing stupid. Nothing stupid. I told you the story that once we were there and somebody said, spin your chakras faster, spin them faster. And I'm like, what are you trying to do? So that's why I said, be sensible about it and don't do anything crazy. But if you're there, then these things start to work, because the same way she said many times, and I'm waiting to give you all my powers. Well, this is not to achieve those powers, but this is to achieve that samitya, the sanidhya, the salokya, and the tadatmya with her.
Wow. And may Shri Mataji grant us all the blissful states
I think she is.
Yes.
I think she is.
I mean,
we
so
have
much
to
better now than some years ago, isn't it? In terms of vibration. So hopefully sooner we will get to where Shri Mataji wants us all, Sahaja Yogis of the world, of the universe, to be as her children, and radiate her love, compassion.
It should just be flowing through our veins. I mean, if you just put your attention inside and you say, just the love of my mother and the bubbling of that joy and grace. Now it's flowing, you can feel it inside. It's automatically going outside too.
Yes.
And wherever you go, it's going to act. You don't have to do anything. it knows what it's supposed to do. So, not my responsibility, Shivaji. It's your Shakti. I'm your
Absolutely.
instrument. Now let the rest of it happen.
Absolutely, isn't it, Uncle? That is so nice and very nicely summed up. Thank you so much because, it's so nice to hear how Shrimati herself has told us all, and yet to be reminded time and again that actually she's the doer. She does she does everything for us, and we are just so exceptionally fortunate that we are her children. And
Yeah,
thanks, Shrimati, for everything. Thank you so much for taking this time out this
very
evening
welcome.
and sharing this absolutely phenomenal talk of Shri Mataji and also doing this meditation that you do with the different age groups in your school district of so many children, and hopefully that critical mass that we were listening to a talk of Shri Mataji this morning. There's few, but if they're working fine, then it brings about that evolution. Hopefully, it'll work out not just in the heart of the universe, but everywhere, not just in the Vishuddhi, but everywhere in the world and in the universe.
Right. And the other thing which I said, there are problems which are happening in society and all that. Um, and uh, we we have to face and address those things, so some of these things of how people suddenly start identifying themselves as being gay, bisexual, transgender, this and that. That's not true, because at the end of the day, we are not sex points. We're not. We are, you could be born a man or a woman, but beyond that, you're the pure spirit. So there's no confusion on this point. But there are things which come from the collective supraconscious and collective subconscious, which people do not understand. Psychologists have no idea about it, which these entities attack and then, transpose themselves on people. And then they start identifying with something different from what they actually are. So, that is another conversation for another time.
Yes, thank you so much for reminding that and taking us in that realm, in that kingdom of Shri who's within us and without. Thank you
Yep.
so much. Jai Shri
Thank you. Jai Shri Mataji. Bye.